Hey, what is up, guys? It is Slick or Slickmoff here, back again with another video and some exciting news coming out of Gotham Knights. Our first bit of news that we've had really since August 22nd of 2020 when the game was announced. And that is a new villain unveiled. And through an IMDB post, it's not really a leak, but IMDB basically posted a role that a voice actor is performing. And it was revealed to be a Deus Ex Machina actor, voice actor, who is voicing the Penguin in Gotham Knights. So I'm not super familiar with who this voice actor is. I don't think it's necessarily relevant for this video. It's interesting and cool, and go check it out if you're a fan of his work. But for me, what I'm more interested in is the fact that the Penguin is in the game more broadly. And it's also an interesting conversation to have because the Penguin was, he was okay in the Arkham games, and he's been okay in film. I suppose Danny DeVito did a good job, but I think that, I'd really like to see them take this character to the next level in entertainment. Of course, in the comic books, there are incredible stories with the Penguin. He's an iconic character and villain. But in video games in particular, my question is the Penguin going to be a side villain like he was in Arkham Knight and even to some extent in Arkham City with the Iceberg Lounge plotline, or is he going to be a main pivotal villain of the plot? And that remains to be seen, obviously. I think it would make sense for the Penguin to be a long-term, full-time villain. And let me explain why that is the case. Because as we've seen in Gotham Knights, one of the big factors that they're leaning into with the game is sort of the origins of Gotham. So obviously the Court of Owls are encroached into Gotham for hundreds of years of history. The Court of Owls have existed in Gotham since it was founded hundreds and hundreds of years ago in like the 1700s, right? And the Wayne family also predates to that level of extent, all that way back. But the other thing is that I think that the game is going to explore Thomas Wayne's impact on Gotham City and some of these families and how they've impacted the Gotham City more broadly. So I think the Elliots are a part of that with Hush. I think he'll be a big part of the game. And I think the Cobblepots are a part of that as well. So obviously the Cobblepots were a less successful business family than the Waynes. The Waynes consistently beat out the Cobblepots, but the Cobblepots are still wealthy, and Oswald Cobblepot comes from wealth. And I think that they're going to explore that in the game to at least some extent. And that's why I think Tommy Elliott and the Penguin are going to be key players in Gotham Knights and not just a side villain like Mr. Freeze appears to be. So I'm super excited to see that and see how he fits into the game. But this is just a big piece of news that we have a new villain confirmed. And I also was curious what villains they were going to unveil because, as we know, they were working on a Damian Wayne Batman game that featured a number of weird C-list and D-list villains. And it looks like they're going more of a traditional route with the villains. I mean, we've seen the Court of Owls, and we've seen we've seen Penguin, and we've seen Mr. Freeze. And of course, they might go down the line into some C and D-list villains. Who knows? Maybe there will be a Condiment King side mission or something. I mean, I don't mean to speak too soon. We don't really know. But one thing that we do know is that they are using these classic A, B-level Batman villains like Mr. Freeze, like the Penguin, and I'm really excited to see that. And again, I hope that the Penguin has a pivotal role in the story because we've seen, again, in the video games, animated series, he has some great stories. In the comic books, he has some great stories. In Arkham, not so great, really. I mean, they could have done better with him. And I think that in Gotham Knights, because it's just a more expansive game, the story's longer, and there's more time for the plot to simmer. These are not quick 5-6 hour story games. Gotham Knights is going